There comes a moment when you get tired of shrinking, settling, and silencing your own words just to keep the peace. This is where that ends. In this video, I'm sharing what it truly means to love yourself, not in theory, but in practice. The kind of love that changes how you walk, how you speak, how you see yourself. Stay with me now, because you deserve to hear this. If you're new here, hi, my name is Tiffany, and I make content all about confidence, self-improvement, and becoming the best version of yourself. Now, if that sounds like your vibe, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you. Let's get into it. Now, before we get into how to do the work of self-love, we have to start with the most important truth. It all begins with the foundation you build within yourself. Like when you truly love yourself, everything in your life starts to shift in a good way. Your relationships improve, you stop settling for less, and you start showing up for yourself in ways that feel empowering. But here's the key. Self-love isn't something that just happens. It's something you build from the inside out. And research backs this up. Dr. Kristen Neff, who studies self-compassion, says that learning to be kind to yourself, especially when life gets hard, is one of the best things you can do for your mental health. So for me, for a very long time, I thought that self-love meant treating myself here and there, like getting my nails done or buying something cute, you know? But I realized that deep self-love is more about how I talk to myself, how I set boundaries, and how I bounce back from mistakes. So once I started doing that deeper work, I noticed that I felt more grounded and less dependent on other people's validation. And just to keep it real, I'm still figuring this thing out. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm just a woman doing the work every day, right alongside you. I want you to try this. Every morning, before you grab your phone or you start your to-do list, take 2 minutes to check in with yourself. Look in the mirror and say, I am enough. I love myself just as I am today. Now, it might feel weird at first, but saying kind things to yourself out loud starts to change how you see yourself over time. If saying I'm enough, I love myself just as I am today, feels too far from what you believe right now, that's okay. You don't have to fully believe it yet for it to start working. Try this instead. I'm learning to believe I am enough. I'm open to loving myself a little more each day. Even just being open to the possibility of self-love is a beautiful and brave first step. Speak it until it starts to feel true. Like self-love is a foundation because when you truly believe in your worth, you stop chasing it in all the wrong places and you start building a life that feels like you. And once you understand the importance of loving yourself from within, the next important step is to learn how to talk to yourself with kindness instead of criticism. Like we all have that little voice in our head, you know, the one that critiques everything that we do. It says things like you're not doing enough, or you probably could have done that better. And this is a good one. You should be further along in your life by now. And over time, if we listen to that voice too much, it can seriously affect our confidence and how we feel about ourselves. The good news is that voice is not you. It's something you picked up, maybe from childhood, past experiences, or even society. And just like it was learned, it can be unlearned. Research shows that we have thousands of thoughts every single day, and a large portion of them are negative. But psychologists like Ethan Cross have found that when we become aware of that inner critic and learn to speak back to it, we feel more in control, more focused, and less stressed. For me, there were times when I'd be hard on myself for things that didn't even matter in the long run, like forgetting to respond to a text, missing a workout, or ordering takeout instead of cooking dinner. I held myself to this impossible standard and felt guilty every time I couldn't meet it. That voice in my head told me that I wasn't good enough or smart enough. And honestly, I believed that for a long time. But once I started paying attention to how I was talking to myself, I realized I would never speak to a friend like this. So why was I doing it to me? I want you to name your inner critic and talk back to it. Give that voice a name like Judgy Janet or Negative Nancy. Unless your name is Janet or Nancy, then don't do that. Doubtful Debbie, Overthinking Olivia, Insecure Irene, Perfectionist Patty. So the next time that voice pops up with something unkind to say, you can say, okay, Nancy, I hear you, but I'm not doing that today. You know, okay, Debbie, I hear what you're saying, but I'm ignoring you. This may seem silly, but it creates space between you and the thought, which is a powerful step in rewiring your brain. Then replace it with something true and encouraging like, I'm doing my best, that's more than enough. Over time, your mind becomes a kinder place to live. And that's what loving yourself from the inside really looks like. As you start shifting that inner dialogue, you'll realize just how much power you have to protect your peace. And that starts with setting healthy boundaries. Now, one of the strongest forms of self-love is knowing when to say no without feeling guilty about it. Boundaries aren't about being mean or distant. They're about protecting your peace, your time, and your energy. When you set clear boundaries, you're saying, I matter too. And research shows that people who set healthy boundaries have better self-esteem, less stress, and stronger relationships. It helps you stop people-pleasing and start honoring what you actually need. So for me, there was a time in my life where I would drop everything for my so-called friends. I was always the one showing up, saying yes, helping out, even when I was tired or going through things myself. But when I needed the same support, most of them were nowhere to be found, and that moment hurts. But it taught me something valuable. Being there for everyone else doesn't mean sacrificing yourself in the process. Setting boundaries helped me see who really respected me and helped me start respecting myself. I want you to pay attention to what drains you. At the end of each day, take a moment to ask yourself, what did I say yes to today that I wish I hadn't? This simple check-in will help you spot the patterns, people, places, or habits that leave you feeling depleted. That awareness is the first step to setting better boundaries and choosing you more often. Like when you finally give yourself permission to put yourself first, you also give yourself the grace to stop chasing perfection and start embracing every part of who you are. In a world that constantly tells us to be flawless, whether it's through filters or comparisons, it's easy to feel like we're never enough. But the truth is, real self-love starts when you stop trying to be perfect and start accepting yourself as you are. Research from Dr. Brené Brown, a leading voice in vulnerability, shows that people who accept their imperfections are more joyful, creative, and connected to others. Now, she calls this wholehearted living, which means embracing your flaws instead of hiding them and realizing that your imperfections are not what's holding you back. They're actually part of your power. So for years, I struggled with insecurities about my weight and the fact that I stutter when I speak. I used to think these things made me less confident, especially on camera or in social situations. But over time, I realized what makes me different is also what makes me real. Once I stopped trying to fix myself and owning my own story, that's when my confidence grew and made it more easier for me to start the process of changing the things that I could control. I want you to start what I call a perfectly imperfect journal. Each week, write down one thing you've been insecure about and flip the script. For example, I used to be embarrassed about my stutter, but now I see it as a sign of courage, so I speak anyway. I used to hide my body under oversized clothes, but now I dress in ways that make me feel good, not smaller. This helps retrain your brain to see your flaws as signs of growth, strength, and individuality. You are not here to be perfect. You're here to be you. And there's something beautiful about being real, being raw and human in a world obsessed with filters. And once you stop hiding the parts of you that feel too much or not enough, you can start taking care of yourself in a more deeper, in a more meaningful way. Mind, body, and spirit. Loving yourself to the core means taking care of all of you. Not just how you look on the outside, but how you feel and function on the inside. Your mind, your body, and your spirit, they're all connected. And when one area is out of balance, the others are affected too. According to the American Psychological Association, regular self-care practices like movement, rest, mindfulness, and spiritual connection can reduce stress, improve your mood, and boost your overall well-being. You don't need to do anything fancy. Even small, consistent habits can have a big impact on how grounded and energized you feel. So there was a point in my life where I was pouring into everything and everyone, but neglecting myself. I wasn't sleeping enough, I wasn't moving my body, and I definitely wasn't checking in with how I was feeling, emotionally or spiritually. I looked fine on the outside, but inside I was drained. Once I started intentionally caring for my full self, through journaling, walking, praying, or just slowing down, I noticed a shift. I felt clearer, more confident, and more connected to myself. I want you to try a mind, body, and spirit check-in once a day. Ask yourself these 3 simple questions. For your mind, did I take care of my mental space today? Did I journal? Did I read, rest, or unplug? For your body, did I move, nourish, or rest my body? For your spirit, Did I do something that fed my soul? Pray, meditate, create, or simply breathe? Even 10 intentional minutes a day can help you reconnect and feel more in tune with who you are and what you need. Self-love isn't just about what you do. It's about how you care for yourself on every level. When you nurture your whole being, you show yourself that you are worthy of time, attention, and care. And as you begin to care for your whole self, mind, body, and spirit, you may realize there are deeper emotional needs that were never fully met. And that's where reparenting yourself with love becomes a powerful next step. Sometimes the way we talk to and treat ourselves is a reflection of how we were spoken to or treated growing up. If you didn't always receive the love, support, or protection you needed as a child, self-love then becomes a way to reparent yourself, meeting those unmet needs with compassion instead of criticism. You get to be the loving, nurturing, affirming presence that you needed. That means comforting yourself when you're overwhelmed, celebrating your small wins, and setting loving limits when you're burned out. And psychologists say that reparenting is a powerful form of healing. It helps regulate your nervous system, rebuild self-worth, and develop emotional security from within. Try saying this to yourself when you're feeling down or overwhelmed. I've got you. You're safe. I love you. And I'm not going anywhere. It might sound simple, but those words hit different when you say them to yourself. Because sometimes the healing comes from showing up for the younger version of you who didn't know how. Now, if you're still watching and this message is speaking to your heart, drop this emoji in the comments so I know you're with me. I'd love to see who's on this self-love journey too. And as you learn to nurture and show up for yourself in new ways, the next step is releasing the weight of old wounds. Because real self-love also means forgiving yourself and making peace with your past. You can't fully love yourself if you're still holding on to guilt, shame, or regret from your past. Girl, we all have things that we wish we'd done differently. Mistakes we've made, people we've hurt, times we let ourselves down. But beating yourself up over and over doesn't lead to growth. Forgiveness does. And studies have shown that self-forgiveness leads to better mental health, lower levels of anxiety and depression, and a greater sense of emotional well-being. According to the Journal of Counseling and Development, people who forgive themselves are more likely to learn from their mistakes and move forward with confidence and peace. There was a time in my life where I couldn't let go of my past choices. I replayed conversations, regretted decisions, and kept asking myself, why did I do that? I didn't realize how heavy that emotional baggage was until I made the decision to truly forgive myself. Not just on the surface, but in my heart. Now, that moment of release didn't make the past disappear, but it allowed me to fully grow beyond it. I want you to write a forgiveness letter to yourself. Start with this sentence: I forgive you for not knowing what you know now. Then write freely. Speak to your past self with love, grace, and understanding. And don't hold back. Let the words come out raw and real. You don't have to share the letter. You can burn it, you can keep it, you can tear it up, whatever feels right to you. Just the simple act of writing it is what helps shift the emotional weight and make space for healing. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means learning from it and giving yourself permission to move forward. Because the version of you who made those mistakes was doing the best they could with what they knew at the time. And once you've made peace with where you've been, the most loving thing you can do next is honor where you are now. Because self-love also means accepting the season that you're in, even if it doesn't look like what you imagined. Sometimes we're growing, sometimes we're resting, and sometimes we're just getting through the day. And that's okay. Self-love means not beating yourself up for where you are in your journey. It means giving yourself grace when life looks different from what you imagined. And here's the truth. We all move through different seasons in life. Some feel exciting and full of momentum, while others feel quiet, confusing, or even painful. Research in positive psychology shows that people who practice self-acceptance, being okay with where they are without constant self-judgment, experience greater emotional resilience and overall happiness. It helps reduce stress and makes it easier to grow because you're not constantly resisting reality. Like, I've had seasons where I felt like I was on fire. Confident, motivated, productive. And then I've had seasons where I felt stuck, unmotivated, or just plain lost. And I used to judge myself hard during those slower seasons, thinking I was falling behind. But I've learned that those quiet, uncomfortable moments were actually preparing me for what was next. When I stopped fighting the season and started accepting it, I found peace and clarity right where I was. I want you to say this to yourself when things feel slow or uncertain. This chapter is part of my growth. I don't need to rush it. I just need to honor it. You can even write it down and keep it somewhere you'll see it. On your mirror, in your journal, or as a phone background. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. And learning to accept your current season is one of the most kindest, most loving things you can do for yourself. Girl, loving yourself to the core is a journey, not a destination. It's about showing up for yourself every day, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. And the more you choose yourself, the more you start stepping into your power. Now, this video spoke to you, girl. I got another one you'll love. Watch my video on 8 habits of successful women to start creating the kind of daily routines that support your growth, confidence, and peace. You deserve nothing less. Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.